Pleasant morning, JNG community family. I hope you're doing okay in spite of our challenges amidst this pandemic. So I'm going to share with you about our core value for this month, which is simplicity, and I'd like to focus on the things that not more on being simple, like living a simple life, living portraying a simple person. So that not that kind of simplicity, but simplicity in terms of making things simple. So I'll share my slides. So simplicity. So we always typecast simplicity as plain, white, black and white in our daily life. So when we see a very simple thing like black and white, it's a simple thing. It's simplicity. But every day we are bombarded with complexities in our work, in our personal lives, even in social media. There are a lot of complexities happening around. Even this pandemic is very complex. So we are always given a complex information like this one. So as you can see, there's a lot of dots. I don't know, or we don't know what kind of information is this. Is red pertaining to infections in a pandemic, and the blue are the ones recovering. So there's a lot of complex information being given to us on a day-to-day basis. So there are also complex tasks like in our office. So for example, it's like a maze that you're here and you're being given a task to go over here. So really complexity, complex task really is trying to play your mind around. Even in IMG, so we always encountering a lot of complex connections. For example, we are just simply putting a computer on the end user. For some, it's simple, but it takes a lot of complexities on the back end side. For example, we have to configure all the switches, arrange IP addresses so that you'll be able to access your servers, your files in the servers. You'll be able to connect to internet. So there's a lot of routing configurations that needs to be done at the back of our network systems so that users can be able to use their computers well. So nowadays, really simplicity is rare. Like for IMG, we always provide simple solutions, but behind it, that's where complexity comes in. So, but what really does simplicity means for us, or for our daily lives? So, as Dr. Koichi Kawana said, simplicity means the achievement of maximum effect with minimum means. Lalim, no? So parang parang pwede mo siyang ikabit sa efficiency, di ba? So kasi ang efficiency, that the difference between simplicity and efficiency is, ang efficiency kasi is trying to go from point A to point B with the fastest route. So simplicity is the achievement of maximum effect naman with minimum means. So somewhat similar, but there's a delineation between complexity and efficiency. Think of Apple computer. So, di ba Jello, ikaw naka-Mac ka. So
Yes,
it just simply works. It just works. It's a simple machine, it just works. Or kung maka-Google naman kayo, imagine the Google search. For some siguro alam to, but for others hindi. Siguro sobrang daming server nito sa Google in terms of their areas. There is in Asia, there's in America. There's vast and complex network of computers and databases put up by Google search. At ano yung nakikita natin sa user? Ito lang. When you do a search, all you see is Google, and you just type it and then boom, you have all your information. But behind that is a vast and complex network of computers and databases that does algorithm, that does machine learning. So I would say simplicity is really not simple, because you have to get the maximum amount of things to be able for you to get things simplified. For example, a Rolex watch, simple things are made unnecessarily complicated. Diba? Sobrang mahal ng Rolex. There's a lot of complexities behind that watch. But guess what? It just simply says time. Nothing more, nothing less, right? Some watches have dates, but technically it just simply tells you what time is it in day to day. You can stop complicating things if you want. Let me share to you the some laws of simplicity by John Meda. So this is something like a guide for us to make things simple. So number one, the simplest way now to achieve simplicity is through thoughtful reduction. So this is actually true for, and also applies to IMG. When we implement things, for example, an ERP system or whatever project, we always go through an intensive analysis and thought every reduction that we can make in the process and in the resources to achieve a goal. So in that way, users will not be able to complain that I have to go to step 1 to 20 to achieve goal A. So that's really the best way to achieve simplicity, is really to thought of how to reduce processes. So for example, you have a remote control. When functionality is reduced without penalty, ibig sabihin, try to figure out a way to reduce this functionality, but without erasing any functionality. And you realize when you go through that reduction, through simplification is realized. So imagine you have only one simple remote that has menu, and then you have up and down button and play and pause, right? Dati meron tayong mga remote sa ganito, remote sa ganyan. Nowadays, isa na lang. So if you realize, if you reduce all those functionality without penalizing its capability, then true simplification is realized. Another step is organization makes a system of many appear fewer. So pagka cluttered, di ba minsan complex, punta ka sa isang room na kalat-kalat yung mga gamit mo, or isang gamit na isang opisina. It really makes the ambience complex. But if you organize it, it may appear fewer and simple. Like for example, organize all the circles, triangles, and whatnot. So an effective scheme now of organization to achieve definite success is taming complexity. You have to tame it. So it is suggested to sort things out, label it, integrate it, prioritize, and then you're done. So by simply following these steps or effective scheme, you'll be able to realize simplicity. Also, savings in time feel like simplicity. Alam mo yun, pag hindi ka, like nowadays, if you're trying to line up for something, it feels like an endless time na naiisip mo, ano bang klaseng ginagawa nila sa loob at napaka-complex ba doon? Diba? Sabi nila, an average person daw spends at least an hour a day waiting in line. This is true, especially in the Philippines, where, you know, A lot of things are still manually done. And when forced to wait, it seems unnecessarily complex. Yun nga, pag nag-aantay ka, even waiting for an Uber or for a Grab, sometimes pag rush hours, inisip mo, ang simple lang naman, magbubook lang ako, pero I really have to wait and things really getting into complex. Maximizing your available time can greatly reduce complexity. Tama naman to. So, pag mabilis, mas simple, mas maayos. Next one is knowledge makes everything simple. We cannot do things, you cannot achieve things you do not know. You cannot manage what you don't know. Right? Think of a screwdriver, di ba? You just put the edge and mate it to the screw head and then turn it. Napakasimple, di ba? Pero alam mo kasing gawin yun. But if you're a child and you don't know which way to turn, it's really a complex thing, right? Subukan yung pag-screwin yung toddler na anak nyo or pamangkin nyo or kapatid nyo. Para sa kanya, it is a complex thing. But for those people who does know how to do it, it's really simple. So going back, knowledge makes everything simple or simpler. So knowing how to execute tasks removes inherent complexity. So timing din, kailangan you have to, you know when to do it, you know the timing to execute all those knowledge for you to be able to remove all those complexities. Kasi pagka banat ka lang ng banat, edi baka mas lalong maging komplikado pa yung mga bagay-bagay. But there are things that can never be made simple. So for example, an iPhone, pardon me for the luma na kasi ito iPhone 3. So if the manufacturers of iPhones, hindi siya madaling gawin. And it's all right. There are things that you cannot really make simple. And that's okay. You just have to know when to stop simplifying and relax. So pag nagkakaroon kami ng walkthrough with our projects and we realize that we cannot really simplify these things because of the underlying rules or underlying mandate of management, then we cannot really simplify this. We cannot cut the bureaucracy of that. That's okay. That's given. So to summarize the law that is being suggested to us, you have number one, the simplest way to achieve simplicity is through a thoughtful reduction. So to avoid decluttering, you really have to thought everything para mapadali mo yung gusto mong gawin. Organization also is a key for a system to appear simple and fewer. Also, if it saves time, it really felt like it's really simple. Very, very important also is you know how to do it, to be able for it to make it simple. So knowledge makes everything simpler. And lastly, some things can never be made simple talaga. This is all, you have to accept it. Some simplicity is about subtracting the obvious and adding the meaningful. So just like the rule number one, the thoughtful reduction, you have to eliminate all those things that make things complicated and add those that are essential to make it work faster and simpler. So if you do that, thoughtful reduction, saving time, you know how to do it, you have the knowledge, and then you realize that there are things that cannot be made simpler, then life will become simple. I'd like to take this slide for, I think this is one, this came from our GCO, Sir Jun. There are 3 simple rules now in in the way they do things. If it's your job, you just do it. If you don't know, then ask. Don't really shy away from asking. Take away all your pride and ask if you don't know, because really, if you know something, if you know it, and then it makes it simpler. Then if it's your mistake, then apologize. So humility also comes in. If it's really obvious that you made a mistake, then apologize. And with that, I'd like to share with you the simplicity, the meaning of simplicity, with the words of our own Sir June. I think this is from him. Simplicity is our choice to be sagely centered in charting correct clarity amidst complexities for ease, efficiency, and efficacy for our solutions freely. So with that, guys, this is just a simple presentation of simplicity. I hope I was able to impart to you in a simple presentation, and probably shares an idea on how to make things simpler.
All right. So thank you, sir, so much, Sir Erwin, for your meaningful talk and insights. I was reflecting on your on the things you were saying, and it made me remember one thing I do, or maybe not one thing I do. It makes me remember a tactic I have whenever I'm faced with something complicated. For example, an entire program or project is entrusted to me. No, so the first thing I'd say to myself is, dali lang yan. Not because it is, but because I want to prime myself and say, ang dali lang yan. And what I do, I try to chop up this. I organize my task list, and I spread it into different days, diba? Across different days. And I tell myself, dali lang yan for today. Ito lang gagawin ko. So when you showed us the shapes and how you organize it to make it look simpler, how you made it look less intimidating, it made me remember, o nga naman, 'di ba? If you organize your tasks, if you practice proper time management and tell yourself, I just have to follow this organized structure and I'll be able to succeed, then things appear simpler. Then truly it can become, madali lang yan, kayang-kaya yan. No? So the shapes thing, the example with the shapes really spoke to me. And I guess when you said that awareness is key, we really have to be aware and open to change.
True.
Many of, diba? Kasi parang many of us, we're so used to to the way we do things, diba? If it's manually, analog, or basta the way we do things in the past, we're so used to it, and some of us don't even want to make the effort to learn new things to adjust, diba? Then things can't get any simpler. But technology gives us so many opportunities, diba, to simplify what used to be complex. No, and I think here in the company we're very thankful that the information management group continues to bring new ideas on how to simplify things. Of course, management has mandates. Of course, there are things that are non-negotiable, diba? But despite that, we try to work with what we have in order to simplify the processes within the company. So thank you, sir, and thank you to your team for that.
Thank you, Jello, for the appreciation.
Yes, sir. And for this morning, we have a couple of panelists with us who may want to comment or ask questions. No? So the first is Ms. Ciara Magsumbol. She is the Business Policy Officer from the Construction Development Unit. So good morning, Ms. Ciara.
Morning,
Good
Shara.
morning. Good morning po, Sir Jello. Good morning, Sir Erwin. Opo, no? So, magko-comment lang ako doon sa sinabi ni Sir Erwin kanina, no? Kasi very ironic para sa akin yung sinabi niyang simplicity is rare and simplicity is not simple. So, medyo para sa akin very ironic. Although, at may point naman si Sir, no? So, anyway, ang question ko lang, kasi dinefine niya yung simplicity as um, medyo ni-relate niya in terms of efficiency and sa efficiency and Parang gano'n sa efficiency, no? So ang question ko lang, tapos nabanggit ni Sir Jello, open to change. So somehow ba itong simplicity to is connected to improvement and innovation? My question is, as a core value ng company, no, yung simplicity, how do you promote simplicity sa workplace? No, so can you give us, Sir Erwin, can you share mga sample na concrete examples on how can we promote simplicity?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Shara. Can I pass the question? No. Pass the question agad, you know. No. Actually, totoo naman yun. Let me give you a concrete example. We know all the challenges in different departments because it really, for example, communication really adds up to complexity. So what we did is we find a way to get a collaboration tool to make collaboration and communication simpler. For example, Google Suites or Google Workplace. So it is a simple solution that you'll be able to share and collaborate in one platform. You'll be able to update documents simultaneously without, emailing it back, putting it in a drive, do your update, and email it back. So it's a simple solution that ease up collaboration and reduce all the complexities with file sharing, collaborating, and that. So that's one. And we always find a way to on the technical side naman, to ease up all the unnecessary complexities in terms of connections. For example, before, ang hirap mag-connect sa mga servers. Ngayon, we just simply configured our routers to be able for users to get in through an SSL VPN, so that you'll be able to work wherever you are, connect to your files wherever you can. So, ang kailangan lang, marunong ka at may internet ka. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much, Ms. Yara, and thank you so much, Sir Erwin. No? So, up next, we have our second panelist. We have Ms. Chrisley Bulatao. She is our very new recruitment management officer from the org development group of the RMU. So, welcome, Ms. Chrisley.
Hi, good morning po. Good morning, Sir Erwin.
Good morning, Christy.
And so again, I'm Christy. Actually, literal nakaka-hire lang po sa akin ng Monday. So, kaka-start ko lang and
Nabigla ako ba?
balik parang nabudol ako ni Sir Jello.
Yes. Buti mabait si Christy.
Ito na.
Buti mabait siya.
So, actually, nagustuhan ko yung presentation niyo, Sir Erwin. And doon sa complex task, yung parang feeling mo nasa maze ka. And talagang nakarelate ako doon kasi nga kaka-start ko lang nung Monday. So, nasa process pa ako ng adjustment period, kumbaga gano'n. Kaka-start ko pa lang sa pag-a-adjust sa company. New environment, new people talaga. And so far naman, okay naman yung naging experience ko sa company. So, I'm thankful for that. And i-share ko lang din na since may mga ka-team ako na naka-work from home, parang pinapasimple ng technology talaga yung pag-adjust ko sa company. Kasi kahit na hindi kami face-to-face, na hindi sila nakakapag-endorse sa akin ng face-to-face, kung ano man yung mga kailangan kong gawin, nagagawa na through internet, through technology, i-share na lang sa Drive, makikita ko na, mag-uusap na lang kami sa WhatsApp para malaman ko kung paano ba gawin yung mga kailangan kong gawin. And alam naman natin na yung pandemic, nahihirapan maraming tao, but I'm still thankful na kahit ganito yung situation, napapasimple pa rin ng ibang bagay yung ibang ginagawa natin. Pero syempre, hindi nawawala yung empathy natin for others na mas nahihirapan sa situation. So, ina-acknowledge naman natin yun. And isa pa na nag-strike sa akin talaga na sinabi ni Sir Erwin ay yung something are not simple. So, and that's okay. So, nagustuhan ko yun because there are things talaga na hindi simple like grief. Hindi naman simple lang grief. When you experience grief, talagang nandyan na mag-a-adjust ka talaga ng matagal na panahon. Walang shortcut, kumbaga ganon. And also sa mga heartaches, parang gano'n, yung mga nakaka-experience ng gano'n sa ibang mga tao. So, parang Sir Erwin, ang question ko lang or parang may mga tips ka ba na pwede mong i-share for people like me na nag-a-adjust pa lang sa workplace kasi baka may mga iba rin na nanonood or nakikinig na nag-a-adjust pa lang sa workplace and also adjustment na rin sa ibang aspects ng life, hindi lang sa workplace. Baka may tips kayo kung paano maging mas simple yung pag-a-adjust.
Thank you, Chrissy. Again, I will pass on that question. Joke lang. No, Chrissy, kidding aside, I think the best advice that I can give you is, since you're new, the best technique is really to know everything muna on ODG. Kasi if you know what to do, it will just be a simple thing to you. Mababait ang mga taga-ODG, si Jello, sila Kimi. These are really helpful guys. Baga, alalayan ka ng mga yan. All you need to do is really grasp and absorb like a sponge all the knowledge. Kasi pag hindi mo alam, then it will be complex to you. Di maaano ka, ayoko dito, ang hirap. Resign na ako. Di ba? Ayoko na. Goodbye Earth. Ganyan, di ba? So, you really have to know, knowledge is key, sabi nga nila. Pangalawa, you have to be patient. Patience is a virtue. So, if you put that together, magiging organized ka. You realize that, i-reduce ko yung mga complexities nito. Pag nag-recruit pala ako, kaysa tawagan ko to, kaysa i-chat ko or email ko, tawagan ko kaya ng diretso to. Or, di ba? You have to realize, minsan yung mga simpler steps if you have the knowledge and tools. And don't forget to ask if you don't know. Especially Jello, tutulungan ka niyan. Or if you have questions about technology, sir, hindi kami makakonect. IMG is always open to help you. 24/7. Totoo yan, kasi minsan tumasagot ako ng chat madaling araw. So, yun. I think, kasi bago ka lang, ayokong i-complicate. You have to do your due diligence in knowing. You have to be patient. And you have to ask. Yeah. Huwag ka mahiya.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Chrisley, for your question, and thank you so much, Sir Erwin, for your insights. I also want to mention what Chrisley said. She said one word that really spoke to me. She said the word empathy. We all know that it's a difficult time for everyone. There's a pandemic. There is still fear, anxiety in the air. And I think the least we can do to simplify life in general is to be kind to one another. Let's always do our best to be sensitive towards what other people are going through, what they're feeling, and let's also be a source of consolation and comfort for one another. Diba? I mean, yes, there's work to do. We have timelines to stick to, deadlines to meet, but at the same time, we have to remember we are dealing with human beings. We're dealing with people with emotions, people who are going through a lot of things. So, empathy, always be sensitive to what the person is going through. Okay? Kahit tahimik lang siya, kahit di mo alam anong pinagdaanan niya, lahat ng tao may dalang krus. Diba? So, let's always be considerate and let's always remember that. I also want to read what Miss Chrissy typed here. She likes what we said about simplicity, and it means prioritizing. It relates to what Miss Ilsa said last week, that knowing what you value and your mission in life makes things simpler. Tumpak, diba? Having your priorities straight helps you say no to the many things that demand your time. And yes, it's true. If you know how to use technology to further your priorities, it makes life simpler and easier, especially in this pandemic. No, and once again, we're very thankful uh, as we continue to work during the pandemic to connect with one another. No, we actually owe a lot to the information management group, to what they're doing behind the scenes, no, to make things more seamless and smoother. So once again, I'd like to thank our panelists, Miss Chiara, Miss Chris Lee, for being with us this morning, our attendees, and especially our esteemed guest, the head
But
of
Jello,
information management, Sir Erwin. Yes, sir.
yeah, we still have a question, I think, anonymous attendee. There's a
Oh,
question.
thank you for picking that out, for telling me, sir. And sorry to the person who asked it. So we have a question. If knowledge is key to simplicity, how does humility play a role in achieving simplicity if you don't have the knowledge yet?
I think that's a very good question. Thank you very much. Pang universe, nice universe, no? I think nasagot ko na to yung sa na-comment ako kay Chrissy. Humility comes in when you ask. Di ba? You have to be humble enough to ask if you don't know. Di ba? Sabi ko nga, there's three simple rules. If it's your job, you do it. If you don't know, ask. That's when humility comes in. Kasi pag ma-pride ka masyado, all-knowing ka, hindi ka na magtatanong eh. Baka pumalpa ka pa, baka maging komplikado pa yung mga bagay-bagay. And if it's your mistake, apologize. So that's the key, I guess. That's the answer to the question, I think, for the online question. You ask, and if it's your mistake, you apologize. That's humility.
Correct. Thank you, sir. And I think we're very lucky to belong in a company where people are very welcome to answer questions, diba? It's better to ask instead of going forward without being sure of what you're doing. So let's ask. We do our best to work, but also know that whenever we are unsure, we have mentors next to us. We have friends who are willing to help us here in Joy Nostalg.
Para if you ask naman, you don't ask twice. Ask naman ng ibang bagay. For example, diba? Tanong mo lang, 5 minutes, tanong mo ulit. So parang medyo, we have a problem here.
Correct. No, so of course we do our best to learn, diba?
Yes,
When
to
we
learn.
ask, we learn as well, no?
Clarify and ask.
Clarify. All right. Do you have any more? Okay, none
Ano
for
pa?
now. Okay. All right. So once again, I would like to thank Sir Erwin for being with us this morning. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you with us, especially with simplicity as our theme, diba? It's the goal of IMG to simplify processes in the company. And we look forward to learning more from you and IMG as we move forward in this pandemic. So once again, thank you so much, Sir Erwin.
Thank you very much, Jello, for this opportunity. And I also thank each member of IMG for being so patient and so industrious and really responsible in their day-to-day tasks. So I'm proud of this team, and we're all IMG is always here to assist you. We are your partners, and just give us a chat, a call if you need anything, and we're really happy to help you guys. Thank you very much, Jan, for this opportunity.
And thank you, Sir Erwin. To our attendees, I posted the attendance sheet in our chat box. So as soon as you fill it up, you may leave the Zoom session. So once again, thank you, everyone, and have a great day ahead. Take care.
Take care. Good morning, James.
Morning.